Hey guys, so today we're going to be doing a video that I never really thought I would be making, and I'm going to be talking about my perfume collection. I just recently got really into perfumes. I've always liked them, I've always enjoyed them, but I've never really kind of gotten into them and really strayed from the scents that I've always worn and loved until this past year. And I don't know if it has anything to do with the lockdown, the pandemic and everything, but it's really right about the time that we started locking down and sheltering in place that I don't know, I've just become more interested in perfumes for whatever reason. Anyway, I've accumulated quite a collection and my tastes have broadened for sure. And so many of you have asked me to do this perfume collection. So that's what we're doing today. I have them all like lined up behind me. I'm going to try and, breeze through each one fairly quickly. Otherwise, we're going to be here forever. But I also know that for those of you who are really into perfumes, are really looking forward to this. I've gotten a lot of DMs about this. So why don't we go ahead and start with one of the newer brands and newer scents that has come into my life. The Harmonist is a brand based out of France. I believe they have a boutique in France and a boutique in LA. Anyway, I had seen this brand on the Neiman Marcus and the Bergdorf sites, I believe. And I was, kind of interested. The notes and everything sounded really, really intriguing. And then they actually reached out to me and they sent me a few scents and a candle. So they sent me this Hypnotizing Fire as a candle. And I loved it. I love it still. It's still burning. I love it. It's just such a sexy, sensual scent. And yeah, and I just absolutely love it. So I decided to get the perfume. Now the perfume definitely is very, very similar to the candle, but it's a little different. First of all, I think that's common. So I'm not too surprised. I feel like if there is like a perfume version of a fragrance and then a candle version of a fragrance, sometimes they don't always smell exactly the same. So I wasn't terribly surprised. This has all the same notes. It's like I smell everything that I smell in the candle, but this one is just a little bit more masculine, if you will. Like I feel like I smell like the patchouli in this a little bit more than I do in the candle. In the candle, I smell the base note of vanilla bean a little bit more. So it's a little bit sweeter, which to me is always, a little bit more typically feminine versus masculine. But other than that, I feel like I said, I smell all of the same notes. So what I'm going to be doing is like flashing all of the notes up here on the screen. I'm not going to, just recite them to you, but you can go ahead and read them if you want. But this is just such a warm, spicy, sensual, sexy kind of fragrance. And I'm so glad I purchased it now. It's kind of like, oh, I don't know, I have so many now and whatever. Anyway, I'm glad I purchased it because this is for me, like a very fall, winter scent or like a summer evening kind of scent. Definitely kind of like a date night kind of scent. I would highly, highly recommend this Hypnotizing Fire. So this is one of the newest fragrances to my collection. And then these are two of the scents that the Harmonist actually sent over to me. So this is part of their prequel collection. They have a few collections. They have a yin collection, a yang collection, and then they have a prequel collection. I think they have one other one. Anyway, these two are part of the prequel collection. So we have Sun Force and Moon Glory. And let me talk about Sun Force first because it's a little bit like Hypnotizing Fire in that it is kind of warm and kind of spicy. It's not quite, at least to me, it's not quite as sensual. Sorry, I'm going to be using a lot of the same words to describe a lot of these fragrances, so I apologize ahead of time. It's not quite as sensual as the Hypnotizing Fire. It's a little bit more floral. It's a little bit brighter than the Hypnotizing Fire, but it is warm and spicy. Again, check out the notes here, but it has sandalwood as kind of like its base note versus patchouli versus the Hypnotizing Fire. So it has a little bit more of like an organic kind of feeling to it. So that is Sun Force. I actually prefer Moon Glory a little bit more than the Sun Force. This one is sweeter. It's a little bit more floral. It's a little bit less warm. It's a little bit more balanced. I wouldn't say it's a really crisp, bright kind of scent, but it's not that warm. This is one of those scents that I feel like I could wear for day or evening. It's like a little bit less polarizing. Like this one I feel like just kind of rides the middle a little bit more. It's a little bit sweet, it's a little bit floral. There's a little bit of like organic kind of base to it. There's sandalwood in there. It's just very, very well balanced. So I like this Moon Glory, and I think you'll like this one if you're into something that's like a little bit sweeter and a little bit less like warm and sexy. So those are the three Harmonist scents that I've been playing around with. The one Byredo scent I have is Pulp. They have a lot of much more popular ones, which I can't think of. Gypsy Water, I think, is one. Mojave Ghost is maybe another one. Anyway, when I went into Barney's when I was in Chicago, I just, started sniffing around, and this one really, really caught my attention. So this one, Pulp, is very, very light and bright and fruity and citrusy, and that tends to be the kind of notes and the feeling of a fragrance that I usually or historically have always leaned towards. I'm definitely getting into scents that are more like the Hypnotizing Fire, that are just like warmer, a little bit more sensual, but give me a light, bright, yellow, green, orange kind of scent, and I'll probably just automatically like it. For me, I think it's always been important to smell clean, and that's what citrus scents always kind of smell to me. They just smell very clean and very fresh. So again, the notes for Pulp are up here, but when I smell this, it is obviously very citrusy. It's very fruity. Bergamot is one of the top notes, which is like a lemony lime kind of fruit. And whenever I smell this, I think of like a citrus-based cocktail. That's what it smells like to me. Maybe not like a screwdriver, maybe something a little bit more clear than that, but oh, it's just wonderful. If you're into like citrus, light, bright scents, I would definitely give this a shot. And I haven't worn the Harmonist perfumes long enough, but this definitely is a perfume. If I spray it just in like a couple spots, it sticks around. It sticks around for a very, very long time. So it does have long wear. And if I get it on my clothing will smell like it every time I put it on until I get it laundered. So this is definitely a long-lasting perfume. Next, we have Gucci Flora's Gorgeous Gardenia. And this is another one that I want to say is fairly new to my collection. I think I got this in December. Yeah, I think I showed this to you guys during Mishmas, but this is a really nice, bright, bold kind of floral / fruity scent. And I feel like in the base notes for most fragrances, there's always some sort of musk or patchouli or sandalwood, something that kind of gives it levity, something that gives it its longevity. And if I smell patchouli all by itself, I don't like it. I don't like the scent. I find it a little bit overwhelming, but I find that the fragrances I like the most or really, really kind of catch my nose, they have patchouli as a base note. And I know patchouli is a base note in this one. And it's really nice. It kind of just makes this very fresh and fruity kind of scent. It just gives it that like earthiness to it that I like. So that's the Gucci Flora. And if you're into gardenia, I think you're gonna really like this. Gardenia is one of the middle notes, and that is the one like floral scent that I smell. The fruitiness, I know like the notes are like pear and berries, but it's kind of like a general kind of fruitiness. I can't really like pick out what fruit it is, but the floral is very gardenia. So that is the Gucci Gorgeous Gardenia, very, very nice. Next we have the Glossier You, and this used to be one of my favorite fragrances, and I still like it, but I think now that my fragrance horizons have broadened, this really isn't a fragrance that I reach for anymore, but it is very, very light. And I remember when I first got this, or when Glossier first came out with this, a lot of people thought it smelled kind of grandma-ish. I think it actually smells very youthful, and it definitely has a little bit of like spice to it. It's like a light floral. It's a little bit powdery, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but it seems to work in here. And there's a lot of like pink pepper. So there's like that little bit of like sharpness to it, which I think is really nice. It's very subtle, not to say it's not long lasting, but it is a very subtle scent. And it is very, very clean. It almost kind of smells like a fragranced soap. Anyway, that is the Glossier You fragrance. Okay. This fragrance, I'm not even sure if they make this anymore because I feel like I ordered the last bottle at like Neiman Marcus or Nordstrom or something. But this is, I think they're just called Goutal now, but they used to be Unique Goutal, but I think they were purchased by a bigger company. Anyway, La Violette is a fragrance that I searched high and low for because I had just fallen in love with the Guerlain Meteorites, that violet scent that they have. And their Meteorite scent, which I did end up getting my hands on, they've had like different iterations of it. And the latest iteration of it has like notes of violet in there, but it doesn't smell like their powder. And so many of you actually recommended this one. And this one does, I think, smell a little bit closer to the Guerlain Meteorites violet versus the actual Meteorites fragrance, which is very interesting. But this just smells like violets. If you like that Guerlain Meteorites scent, you're gonna really, really like this. It just smells just like it. It smells like violets and maybe a little bit of rose. Again, I'll put the notes up here. But yeah, all I really smell is violet. And I'm not like a powdery, like I don't like that baby powder scent in fragrances at all. But when it comes to a powdery floral, for some reason, I really like it. So that's the Goutal La Violette. And again, I'm not sure if this is still around because I feel like this is hard to find, but I'll link to everything that I'm talking about down below in my description box. If I can find it, I will link to it, but that is the La Violette. And speaking of meteorites, I did purchase this Guerlain Meteorites when it came out maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And I was so excited to see that it had been kind of re-released, but then I didn't really have experience with the previous versions, and I had heard that this newer one, didn't really smell like the previous version. So it's a lovely fragrance, but it is a little bit disappointing if you're hoping for it to smell just like the Guerlain Meteorites. So there are obviously notes of violet in here, but it's very fruity. So I do really, really like this, but again, my expectations were of just violets, but it is actually very, very fruity. It's a lot sweeter and fruitier. So yeah, like when I remove my mind from it, wanting it to be the Meteorite scent, I really enjoy it because I do like fruity floral scents, and it is very, very fruity. This perfume is very light. I don't think it actually has very good lasting power. So it's definitely one that you are gonna have to like re-up on during the day, but it is quite lovely. It's very light, very fresh. It's very like springtime friendly. Another springtime, summertime fragrance that I really love is the Guerlain Aqua Allegoria Herba Fresca. So the Aqua Allegoria line are these kind of like lighter, brighter fragrances, and they always come out with a whole bunch, and I am always so tempted to get them. Because they come out with so many, I almost get like frozen with like decision making. Should I get the grapefruit one? Should I get the lemon one? Should I get the lime one? Like they all sound perfect for what I like. But I did end up getting the Herba Fresca a while ago when I was able to go in store and kind of smell all of them. And this is a very, very typical Michele fragrance. This just smells like springtime, summertime in a bottle. It's very lemony. When I close my eyes, I just feel like I smell like yellow and greens. And it's so light. Like in the base notes, there's no, like I was mentioning, there's no like musk or sandalwood or patchouli or anything like that. I think the base notes are florals. So yeah, it just keeps it really, really light. So if you're someone who doesn't really like too heady of a fragrance, you want something just, kind of light and crisp, just a little dab of something, and you really like citrus, oh, you would love this. Absolutely love this. So this is Herba Fresca from Guerlain. All right, next up we have Rose Gypsy from Christian Dior, and this was just actually recently sent to me. I kind of have this like love-hate with Rose. When it's done right, I really love it. I just think it smells really delicate and beautiful, and you can just, close your eyes and just see like fields of roses. And that's what I get with this one. The rose in here is Rose de Mai, which has such a delicate kind of floral scent. It's not just a really kind of like dozen red roses kind of like in your face smell. It's so much more delicate. There's a certain kind of like rose garden feel to this scent, like you're walking through a garden. So it's not just the roses that you smell, it's like the greenery, it's like the dirt a little bit. I know that sounds bad, but you know what I mean? It smells very fresh, not just the roses, but it just smells like fresh, like you're outdoors enjoying like a rose garden. I hope that makes sense. But that's the Rose Gypsy, and it's really, really lovely, and kind of like the Herba Fresca, but like the floral version. So if you're really into kind of like a light floral, just like you close your eyes and it's just sort of like a wash of pink that you like, I think you'd really enjoy this Rose Gypsy. This one definitely has a lot longer staying power than the Meteorites, or even the Herba Fresca. The Herba Fresca I feel like I have to re-up on or kind of top off midday. This one I don't feel like I have to. So that's the Christian Dior Rose Gypsy. And then next up we have Loubidoux from Christian Louboutin. And I talked about this, I think, in my last month's favorites. This bottle is so heavy. I think I talked about this in my last month's favorites. You know, the one word, and I use this in my favorites video too, the one word that comes to mind when I smell this is it's just joyous. It's a very joyous fragrance. It's very fun. It's very bright. It's not, and I know this is going to sound bad, but I mean it in the best way. It's not that complex. Like, I smell roses. I smell a little bit of like an organic base note. And then I smell the strawberry, which sort of just kind of like floats above everything else. It's the top note. And I think that's what makes this fragrance so fun, is the strawberry. It makes it really, really bright. So I'm just loving this fragrance. This definitely has lasting power. I kind of do one spritz on a wrist, one spritz on my neck. I'm good to go for the entire day. So that's the Louboutin Loubidoux fragrance with the little cat on top. I love it. And if you need any kind of like weapon of any sort, look no further. This thing really is very, very heavy. All right, another fragrance that is like relatively new to my collection, one of the newer ones, on the newer side. This is the Parfums de Marly Delina fragrance. I love this fragrance. This is one of my like new favorites. Like, if I don't know what to put on, if I don't know what mood I'm in for, I just need to smell nice, I reach for this one and I love it. There's like a light kind of fruitiness to it. And when I first got it, I thought it smelled like the Baccarat 540. I feel like there's similarities. There's something like in the base note that I feel like smells similar. I don't even think they have any similar notes, but I almost feel like this is the younger, more carefree sister to Baccarat 540 because it is fruitier, it is brighter. You know what it has in there that I love is peony. Peony is one of my favorite flowers, and it's like a bolder but lighter version of a rose scent. I just love this. It's like sweet, floral, fruity. It really kind of has everything, and then there's like a little bit of vanilla kind of like tucked in underneath. Oh, it's so pretty. And it's one of those perfumes where I feel like the bottle kind of describes it perfectly. Like, it's no surprise that the bottle looks like this with its little tassels and it's like little pastel pink situation going on. It's so right. It just smells the way you think this would smell. All right, let's get into my Jo Malone fragrances because they're all up here and I've been kind of like going behind it. So let's get into my Jo Malone fragrances. So I have quite a few Jo Malone fragrances, and the fragrance, and you guys have heard me talk about this a gazillion times, the fragrance that I have been wearing ever since its inception is grapefruit. I have gone through bottles and bottles of this. My husband would buy it for me for my birthday, for Christmas, for Valentine's Day. Whenever he needed a present, he would buy me grapefruit cologne. So I have, again, no idea which bottle this is, but this is still one of my favorite fragrances because it's very citrusy. It's very, very light. There's a bit of sweetness in there, but it's not too sweet. There's a little bit of mint in there. And I know, and this is what kind of tipped me off to patchouli, but one of the base notes is patchouli. And I was like, I don't like patchouli. That's so weird. I don't smell it in here at all. But there's something about patchouli, like I said, when I mix it in with other like scents or whatever, it just seems to like round it out. And I do think it helps with longevity. For me, this grapefruit cologne, I feel like I've heard people talk about Jo Malone and how it doesn't like last on their skin. I think it really depends on which scent it is because this lasts on my skin all day. I never have to top up with grapefruit, even though it is a very light and bright and kind of sweet scent. I never feel like I need to kind of douse myself in it again, but oh yeah. But I don't think I'll ever get tired of Jo Malone grapefruit. It's just, oh, it's so good. It's so good. Next up, we have Poppy and Barley, and I like this one a lot because there's some very strong kind of like fruit top notes, but this one kind of changes on me. So when I first started wearing this, I loved it. I loved it. And then it was like, I don't know what's happening with this. It feels like it's kind of like changing. Like, I really loved it. And now all I smell is maybe like the mid notes or whatever, the heart notes. And then it kind of came back to me. It's so weird. I put it on again and I could kind of smell all of them all at once. Does that happen to you guys? When you put on the same exact perfume, it will smell different to you. Even if you have the same exact you haven't changed your laundry detergent, you've been using like unscented soap or whatever, it'll just kind of change. I don't know if it's just how like your brain is interpreting it or what's going on, but this one has definitely kind of gone back and forth for me, and I've come back with this one. I feel like I smell all the notes, including the fruity ones. Like they all kind of like hang on, and I don't feel like the fruit necessarily fades like I thought it did when I first was wearing it. But anyway, like I said, it's very fruity. There's definitely some floral in there. And then there's like a little bit of white musk in there, which is like, makes it smell kind of clean and fresh, but it's really pretty bold. It's not like fresh linen in the sunshine. It's like a much kind of bolder, clean fragrance. So that's Poppy and Barley, one that I enjoy, but out of my entire collection, I wouldn't say this is my favorite. Like, I don't know if I would repurchase this, but it is really lovely if you like light fruit, a little bit more floral, and then like that white musk. I feel like the white musk is the strongest in here. Next up is Fig and Lotus, and we're still on Jo Malone. This is another one that's like fairly new to my collection, and I was actually surprised at how masculine this one smells, probably because the base note is vetiver, but it kind of just smells like cologne. And I was tempted to give this to my husband, but I was like, you know what? I need to kind of give it a little bit more time. But yeah, it just has like a very kind of like clean, and when I close my eyes, like the color I feel like I see when I sniff this is like a deep, almost like a forest green, maybe not that deep. So there's like a little bit of like a clean kind of smell in there, but I find this to be a little bit on the masculine side. I don't know if any of you guys have this Fig and Lotus out there, but it's nice. It's nice for those days where I'm feeling like I just kind of want like a unisex, clean kind of fragrance, like one that isn't too floral and fruity. Like this one is mature. This is a very mature scent. So that's the Fig and Lotus. I'm running out of like descriptors for scents already, but I find this one to be mature. Next we have English Oak and Red Currant, and I really enjoy this one. This one to me is a very fall going into winter kind of fragrance because there's a certain level of warmth to it, but I like that the red currant and the roses in it really kind of keep it lighter and a little bit more feminine. So the red currant and the roses like fade pretty quickly, and you're left with this English oak. And while that's not necessarily bad, it becomes like, it kind of starts out like, oh, like kind of like a bright and, oh, this is a pretty fragrance. And then it gets like kind of really serious pretty quickly. And that's for me, like what lingers on my skin. Kind of smells like a wood paneled office is what it kind of ends up smelling like. So it kind of starts out on the more feminine side, and then it ends up being like a little bit more of a masculine scent, which is very, very interesting. I wouldn't call it unisex because I don't feel like it's unisex at any point. I just feel like it goes from feminine to masculine. But I really like it, and it's very, very interesting. It's very different from other fragrances that I have. And yeah, this definitely is kind of like a late fall, like most of the leaves have left the trees. Like that's where I feel like this cologne maybe is like best suited, like late fall. Okay, Orange Blossom from Jo Malone. Now, from what I have told you that I like in terms of perfumes, scents, and things, you would think I would love this, but I don't. There's something about Orange Blossom that I don't like because it just smells bitter to me. And this one does have floral in there. Is it like a lily? I feel like I smell like Lily of the Valley. Anyway, that I really like in this fragrance, but the Orange Blossom, I think maybe there's like Tangerine Blossom in here. I don't like, there's something about those, and all I smell, it's almost like orange peel. I smell just like the bitterness of it. I don't really smell like the fun, citrusy, bright kind of scent. So yeah, I was really kind of surprised by this Orange Blossom. I kind of just bought it blindly because I was like, oh, I'm gonna love that. Jo Malone Orange Blossom, yes. And I don't really like it. This is not my favorite. So definitely a disappointment for me. Next we have Jo Malone's English Pear and Freesia. I love this fragrance. I really do, but I prefer it as a candle versus me actually wearing it all day. I actually find it a little distracting because it's like all I can smell. And no matter how many times I wear it, you know, sometimes you put on the same perfumes day after day after day and you stop smelling it. You just become so used to it. I never get used to this one. I don't know what it is. It's another one that I feel like lasts a really long time. I don't need to put on too much, and it's it's on me like all day. I never have to re-up, and I love it. I love the scent of it, but for some reason I don't like it on me. I really like it as a candle. And in fact, I have this candle in my bedroom. It just is such a nice, it's like bright but warm. It's a really great, I think it's a great winter kind of like holiday fragrance because of that like brightness. It's very, very happy, but there's a warmth to it. And I think this was another one that has patchouli as a base note, and there it is again. I love it. So that's the English pear and freesia. And just like its description, it is a very bold kind of fruit and floral. It's not like light and airy. Yeah, I just find this one to be a lot more bold. Maybe that's why I like it as a home fragrance versus on me. But anyway, love this actual scent. All right, and then I did just purchase this Scarlet Poppy. This is a Cologne Intense from Jo Malone. This is a very interesting one because it is very bold, but I find it to be very sweet too. I don't think I've worn this one enough to really give you like my full thoughts on it, but it's very, very sweet. I feel like if you catch it the wrong way, it almost smells like cough syrup, like that kind of sweet. I know when I've put it on, it doesn't smell that sweet for that long. It's really just like the first burst of it, and then it kind of mellows out, but it does remain pretty sweet, and that kind of surprised me. I thought just by looking at this, I thought it was going to be like a warmer, like spicier kind of scent, but it's not really. Sorry, I can't think of any other word for this except that it's like surprisingly sweet when you kind of like open up the bottle. So that's the Jo Malone Scarlet Poppy. And that is it for all of my Jo Malone fragrances, but let's move on to my Maison Francis Kurkdjian's fragrances because those are my favorite. I think if I had to pick one perfume maker to go with for the rest of my life, I think it would be Kurkdjian. So let's start with Baccarat Rouge 540. This has become like a cult classic, cult favorite of Kurkdjian. And this is such a beautiful, like this has a sweetness to it, but it's so, oh, it's so elegant. It's so soft. Like this is a great date night perfume also because I think there's an elegance to it, a bit of a sensuality to it. It's not quite as sexy as as Hypnotizing Fire. That's like third date fragrance. This is like 10th anniversary fragrance. Yeah, this is just really lovely. And I know a lot of friends who wear this. It smells good on everyone. You know how some fragrances smell a little bit different on people? No, this smells the same on every single person I've smelled this on. And this is such a different fragrance for me, but I love it. Like it's not citrusy at all or anything like that. It's like a little bit sweet, a little bit floral, a little bit woodsy. Oh, it's just incredible, absolutely incredible. And I feel like other perfume houses try and imitate this, and it always just kind of misses the mark. Like there's something about the Kurkdjian fragrances, all of them that I have, they're so subtle. Like you spray them and it's not like, whoo, you know, like I spray too much or anything, and then you kind of like need to air yourself out. I never have that problem with Kurkdjian, but I never have a longevity issue either. I don't need to like re-up on them. I spray them, even though they're light, they have this longevity. Like it's the same level all day. They're just incredible. I could sit here and smell this all day. I need to get a candle of this because I feel like this is one of the scents that I would like as a perfume and a home fragrance. It's stunning. And this is definitely a fragrance that I really liked it when I first got it. And I've just grown to like love it over time. Like I love this fragrance now. So that's the Baccarat Rouge 540. Next we have Amorous, and Amorous, I believe he has an Amorous Homme and an Amorous Femme, and this is the Femme one. I actually like the Homme as well, but the Femme is, it's a little bit lighter, a little bit more florally than the Homme. Again, there's just like this lightness to it. This is definitely like a springtime fragrance for me. Baccarat, you can wear all the time. Summer, fall, winter, spring. This one is definitely more of a springtime fragrance. It's really just it's a very gentle, soothing kind of fragrance. Yeah, it's so lovely. There's a little bit of citrus in there, but really it gets very organic where there's some like florals, maybe some woodsy bits in there, like a little bit of musk in there. Oh, it's really lovely. Very, very light. And like I said, it's just very soothing. It's like a calming kind of fragrance. So that's the Amorous Femme. And then we come to the fragrance that I think has knocked Jo Malone's Grapefruit off of the first place stand, and that is the Aqua Universalis from Kurkdjian. I love this scent. This is one of those scents that from the first moment I smelled it, I felt nostalgic. Even though I had no memory of this scent before I smelled it, it was almost like a wave of nostalgia came over me for no reason. It is wonderful. It's definitely a little bit citrusy on top, but again, it gets very, very kind of like woodsy. Oh, it just smells so clean. And I would say this is definitely very unisex. I think this and Baccarat are probably the two most popular fragrances in this line. Like Aqua Universalis just describes this perfectly. Usually I can see a color when I smell a fragrance, and when it comes to this, I just see like clear water. I just see like nothingness, like crystal is what I see. So that's the Aqua Universalis. And then I do have this little travel size Kurkdjian perfume of Petit Matin, which I think the sales associate was telling me means morning time or right before morning. And it really smells like that. It smells like the sunrise. Yeah, there's like a warm like brightness to it. Oh yeah. It's like the color I see is kind of between orange and yellow. It's really beautiful. And you know what's funny is I think there's orange blossom in here because I can smell it. I can smell it in here, but it doesn't bother me. It's just well-rounded. It doesn't smell like as bitter as it smells in other perfumes. This is really beautiful too. So that's Petit Matin. So those are all of my Kurkdjian fragrances. I always have the hardest time when I go to his counter at Neiman Marcus. I'm like, ooh, maybe I'll get a new one today. And I can never decide which one to get. I always have to just like, oh, I'm just going to narrow it down to one and grab one. And then, yeah. Anyway, love Kurkdjian fragrances. Let's move on to Kilian. Kilian is a brand that I, just recently got into. I was really intrigued because, again, last year I was kind of broadening my horizons. Yeah, the descriptions of all of his fragrances really just sounded very appealing to me. So this is one of the newer ones. This is part of his cocktail line. Kilian Hennessy's father is Hennessy, the gentleman who started the Hennessy cognac or whatever. But there's Angel's Share, and then there's Roses on Ice. Angel's Share is definitely one that I do want to pick up. This Roses on Ice is very light and bright. Like Angel's Share, I feel like is the fall-winter version. It has like a warm kind of caramel color to it. This one is definitely like the spring-summer fragrance in the line. And this one, the first thing you'll smell is cucumbers. It smells like a cocktail. It smells like a cucumber martini of some sort. Yeah, and then there's like a little bit of rose, a little bit of musk, but really what you can smell are all of those cocktail fragrances. Cucumber, I feel like I smell gin. I feel like I smell like whatever garnish. And I'm just kind of waiting for spring, summer to come for me to put this on. Just be perfect for spring, summer. The other two Kilian fragrances I love wearing together, so I'll kind of talk about them at the same time. The first one is Boys, and I just have like a little kind of travel spray of it, and then Intoxicated. These are like warm, deep winter kind of scents. And what really got me about Boys is that it smells like Coca-Cola, and I love the smell of Coca-Cola. I don't know if it's just a nostalgic thing for me. It just, it's so good. It's so good. So when you pair this Coca-Cola with something like Intoxicated, which has vanilla and like dark brown sugar and caramel and cocoa and coffee, all of those really, really deep kind of like gourmand kind of scents. Oh, it's such a nice pairing. I love these two together. I mean, I love them separately as well, but when I put them together, oh my gosh, it's like angels sing. Both of these fragrances couldn't be further from like a grapefruit or like a lemon tree. These are so different and I love them so much. I've been wearing these two together quite a bit, and these two both also have nice longevity. They wear really, really nicely. I don't think I've ever had to like re-up these. No, I've never had to re-up these, and I definitely still smell it on my skin when I go to bed at night. Love this combo, Intoxicated and Boys. All right, next up, I decided to try this brand from Sephora. This is the Maison Louis Marie Bois de Balancourt. I got a set, so this is the cologne, this is the oil. It's like a rollerball oil, and then I also got the candle. I think I like this as a home fragrance. Like I love you know, burning the candle. It smells great, but I don't mind this as a perfume. Like, I'll wear it, it's not gonna bug me, but I think I just prefer it as a home fragrance, and I'm trying to figure out why. I think I described this when I first got it. It's like, it's a light but very warm kind of scent. And I don't know, like it kind of makes me feel cozy. Maybe that's why I like it as a home fragrance versus something I would wear. It's lovely. And I'm trying to figure out what the notes are all together. Whatever the notes are all together, they kind of smell like fresh grass. Yeah, like freshly mowed grass, but like sweeter than that. Not quite as like raw as that. But that is the Bois de Balancourt. I don't know if I'm describing that properly at all, but that's what it smells like to me. And again, I like this as a home fragrance more than I do as an actual like perfume. All right, let's move on to Chanel. So I have a few Chanel fragrances, and the first one is one that I got I think last spring, and then I waited to start wearing it in the fall. So I've only worn this a couple of times. This is the Chanel Coco Noir. And this is just a beautiful, to me, just a beautiful kind of like evening black tie, deep fall, winter kind of fragrance. It's very, very serious. It's a very, very serious scent to me. And there's just like a hint of sweetness, but it's not that sweet at all. But I feel like I smell a lot of like florals and then like a little bit of like spiciness, like cloves or cinnamon or something like that. It's really quite sensual. I don't think it's quite as like, I don't know, like titillating as the Hypnotizing Fire. Wow, I'm really coming out with the words. I don't think it's quite as like titillating as the Harmonist. The Harmonist is a little bit more of like a tease, where this one is like sexy. This one is just a very, very sexy fragrance. So let me just put this down. I feel like I'm making an ass of myself, but this is a lovely, like if you like that kind of like warm, serious, sexy kind of fragrance, this is for you, Chanel Coco Noir. And then the rest of my Chanel fragrances are all very, very light. This Paris Deauville from Chanel is one of my favorites. This is up there with like Grapefruit and Aqua Universalis. It's just really light and fresh and easy to wear. It's sort of like the lip gloss of perfume. Just throw it on, no big deal. I really love this. I've used the bath gel of this. I've used the lotion of this. It's just nice. It's nice. It's one of those fragrances that just makes you feel clean and fresh and like ready to take on the world. I really love this one. So that is the Paris Deauville. And then we have the Paris Riviera. So this one is, you know, these are all part of the same like Paris line. So they're very light, you know, they're very light, they're very fresh. This one is a little bit less citrusy. So it's a little bit more floral. I feel like I smell like jasmine in there a little bit more. I like the Deauville more than the Riviera, but this one is nice. Like if you're not into citruses, but you want something light and fresh, and you like florals, this is a good one. So that's the Riviera. And then a friend of mine actually just sent this to me. I couldn't believe it. I'm in love with this fragrance. This one is gonna be up there in my top 5, I bet. And I actually just put it on. Oh, it smells so nice. This is the Cristal Oval, and this just looks like this color. It just is this like light, bright green kind of fragrance. It's very citrusy. It's very light. It's not too sweet. It's like not as sweet as the Grapefruit or the Deauville. It's like a little bit more like clean than that, but it's really, really light and bright. Like I said, like this is like the perfect color for this cologne with the white cap. This bottle, like this presentation is just the perfect presentation for this fragrance. It's so fresh and so clean. I love it. Now we are moving into the House of Sillage fragrances. I don't even know how long I've been talking, but this is gonna be such a long video. So what I do want to say about the House of Sillage fragrances is that they were all sent to me, which I'm so grateful for, especially now getting into fragrance. But I haven't been able to wear any of them too much, but I do have some favorites, which I will point out to you. They won't be any surprise. But a lot of their fragrances, most of them, I will say, they're very, very, bold isn't quite the right word. They're just very strong. These fragrances, I just don't feel like you need more than one spritz. And I tend, as I'm sure you guys can tell, I tend to like a lighter kind of fragrance, but they're so unique and they're so beautiful and they're so like beautifully like layered and complex they're just lovely. Anyway, I'm saying all this because again, I'm going to flash up the notes for these perfumes, but I haven't personally had that much experience with all of them. I've worn them all at least once, but I do find having all these fragrances now, like I just don't have the chance to wear a lot of them. But let's go ahead and start with the Mickey Mouse one. So this Mickey Mouse one, unmistakably, as soon as I opened up the cap, it just smells like coconut milk or cocoa butter. It has that ocean kind of feeling to it. And there's a little bit of vanilla in there, but really it just smells like cocoa butter to me, or coconut milk. So that is the Mickey Mouse fragrance. And look at this beautiful bottle. Oh my God. All of the bottles of the House of Sillage fragrances are incredible, but their limited edition ones are just insane. Like the ears with the crystals, and then it says Disney House of Sillage there with all the crystals here. I mean, it's just great. And then this like ombre red, it's just perfect. It's like his little pants. Oh, I love it. All right, Wonder Woman 1984. They did this in collaboration with the Wonder Woman movie that came out, in December? And this smells like vanilla. Another one, as soon as I opened it up, I was like, ooh, vanilla. It's very sweet. It's a little powdery, which again, not my favorite, but it's very, very vanilla-y and almost like toasted almond a little bit. So definitely on the sweeter side. And then I feel like what lingers is like the musk. There's definitely like a musky kind of base to this. Yeah, so that is Wonder Woman 1984. And then next up, we have their collaboration with Cowen, who is a fashion designer. So they collaborated with him for one of his New York fashion shows. And this one is not my favorite. This one has orange blossom in there, I believe, and it just smells bitter to me. Yeah, there's something about this that just doesn't mesh with me. And I do think this one is probably a little bit on the masculine side, which is fine, but not for me. So I haven't been wearing this one since I got it. But that is the Cowen. And then they also did a collaboration with Aeronauts, which was that like Amazon special movie. I actually never watched it, but this fragrance is lovely. It definitely is citrusy. There's definitely a sweetness to it. I feel like if I sniff it really quickly, it almost has that Coca-Cola smell to it. I really don't know what that is. I really don't know what makes up the Coca-Cola smell. I don't know what it is. I looked it up and I think I read all these different versions of it. But like one was citrus plus vanilla will give you like the Coca-Cola smell. And I'm like, really? It just really surprised me, but maybe that's what it is. But yeah, I kind of smell citrus, and I think there's patchouli in this one. Yeah, this one is lovely, and I've worn this one a few times. So that's the Aeronauts one. This was limited edition, so I don't know if this is still available. Hopefully it is, but this is one of my favorites from House of Sillage. Okay, next let's talk about the Whispers collection from House of Sillage. This is my favorite collection of theirs. It's like the Aqua Allegoria from Guerlain. It is like that Paris line from Chanel. It's like their lighter, brighter line, and as you guys know, I love it. And one of my absolute all-time favorite fragrances, not just from House of Sillage, but from anywhere, is the Whispers of Enlightenment. And it's the one that comes with this peach cap, and it has like notes of peach, and it's really sweet and fruity, and there's like a little bit of floral in there. I just really, really like it. I like it for the peach. I really like peach scents, apricot scents. Like they're just a lot of fun. It's almost like in the Louboutin, the strawberry, like it just makes it just really so much more like fun. So that's the Whispers of Enlightenment. And these have like those flowers on there. So, so pretty. So the other Whispers I have is Whispers of Guidance. That's the one with this green cap, the flowers on there. And this one is lovely too. It's a little bit less sweet than the Whispers of Enlightenment. It's a little bit cleaner smelling, probably why they put it in green packaging. A little bit more like unisex than the Whispers of Enlightenment, but it's really nice. It's still like light and bright and everything, but it's just a little bit less sweet than the Enlightenment. And then I do have the Whispers of Truth in a travel package here. And the Whispers of Truth smells very, very similar to the Baccarat 540. It's a little bit sweeter and it's a little bit brighter, but it has, I don't know, it just has very similar notes in there to me. So there's like a little bit of fruitiness, and then there's like like, I don't know, kind of like a sweet kind of like bass note going on. Yeah, not quite as elegant as the Baccarat 540, but similarities, definitely similarities there. And then I did put the Whispers of Strength into this travel case, but this travel case is from a different line. It's not part of the Whispers line, but I put the Whispers of Strength in here, which comes in the purple domed cupcake one. This one is I have to be in the mood for because it's very heavy in the tuberose, and tuberose I like, but I have to be in the mood for. It's not something I like all the time. It's definitely much more of like a springtime, flowers are in bloom, like that's what tuberose smells like for me. So it's not something I would like to wear, I don't know, like deep fall when the leaves are falling. That's not when I'm in the mood for tuberose. So that's what I smell in Whispers of Strength. There's definitely other notes, but tuberose is the one that stands out to me. All right, next up, we're going to talk about some of the fragrances that are part of the House of Sia's signature collection. I think that's what it's called, the signature collection, but I do have them in the limited edition packaging. You guys, these are so incredible. So this is Hauts Bijoux, and look at that turtle on top. Oh, I just love this turtle so much. He's encrusted. And we've got some other sea life down here. We've got some starfish. We have some coral. There's a shell there. Oh, it's just absolutely gorgeous. It's so hard to describe House of Sillage scents because all of the notes are like blended in such a way that it's like to unravel it all, it takes a little doing. Hold on. I definitely smell some fruitiness in there, but there's also a little bit of warmth. Maybe some vanilla, definitely a little bit of floral in there. But this is definitely one that I like more than the others. This is a very light, little bit on the sweet side. Just a lovely kind of like everyday kind of perfume. So that's the Hauts Bijoux. Really lovely. Nothing too, you know, musky or sandalwoody or whatever, nothing too heavy. So that is Hauts Bijoux. And then next we have Passion de l'Amour, and this is the one with the lizard on top. I love it. I love him with these like climbing flowers. The flower top there, isn't that gorgeous? This one's like it's like a little too serious for me. There is oud in there as like a base note, and oud is definitely something I like as a home fragrance, but I do not like it as like a scent on me. I just find it's just a little bit too heavy for me. It's very, very serious. It's definitely more on the masculine side, I would say, traditionally masculine side. And so I don't really reach for this one that much. It's definitely a much more, you know, serious kind of fragrance. Even though there are some like lighter notes in there, the oud I feel like just really overpowers everything. So that is the Passion de l'Amour, which is a perfect name for it because it is very, very, it's a very passionate, it's a very, very serious kind of scent. All right, and here is Love is in the Air. Oh my, isn't that just adorable? I mean, with the lovebirds and the caging. And then, I don't know if you can see it, but the glass has just the lightest blue tinge to it. And then the perfume is this beautiful kind of caramel color. Oh, it's lovely to look at. It's so beautiful. So this one it's another one that it just isn't really for me. It has that powdery kind of scent to it. And I don't like it. I don't like powdery scents. There's something about it kind of gets caught in my throat, and I don't know what note it is that does it. But yeah, this just has like that powderiness to it that I don't like, but it is very, if I had to describe it, I would say it's fairly light. It's like a floral, a slight bit of like musk in there. But yeah, I have to say they match up their fragrance with the packaging beautifully because this is so white and light and airy, and that's, you know, to me powdery scents are like that. So I feel like this is another scent that like that smells the way this packaging looks, if that makes any sense. And then here is Tiara with all of these blue crystals on top. Isn't that gorgeous? And this is one that I feel like its lighter top notes are completely overpowered by the base notes. The base notes are so strong. It's a very like musky vanilla kind of scent. So it's a little bit on the heavier side for me. So this is, for me, like if I'm going out to dinner or something, I would think about putting this on. But this is not like an everyday kind of scent for me. If you like vanilla and if you like musk, I feel like those are the two notes that I smell the most. If you like those two, I think you would really enjoy this one. And here is Nouez Moi, I believe is how you pronounce it. I love this packaging with the black and this like crystal bow tie on top. So the scent of this one is really bright. Like a lot of the other ones have, there's like a depth, like a deepness to it, like the one with the oud in it and the muskiness or whatever. This one is a much lighter, kind of brighter fragrance. Definitely some fruity top notes in there. I smell a little bit of floral, but this one I really, really enjoy because it is like lighter and brighter and fresher smelling. So that is the Nouez Moi. All right, and last but not least for House of Sillage, I have these two The Trend travel cases. And this line of theirs, they number. So this one is number 3. This is the one that has like cherry blossoms on the outside. And all of these Trend fragrances, at least the ones that I've had the pleasure of smelling, are all very clean smelling. This one is very clean and floral and light. I definitely smell orange in here. Yeah, it's just really lovely. Very, very kind of like everyday. I would wear this during the daytime, not a problem. I think it's very, you know, unoffensive. It just smells very, very pleasant. And then this one with the leaves on it is number 5. And this one actually surprised me because when I saw the leaves, I thought, oh, maybe it's going to smell really kind of organic and just very kind of green, like walking through like a moist kind of like rainforest kind of smell. Not really. It's a really like clean linen, like white kind of fragrance. And I don't know if this has tuberose in it. I definitely smell a rose, but it's not like a typical kind of rose. It's like a softer kind of rose. Anyway, very, very pretty. On the floral side, very clean, clean, clean smelling. So that is the Trend number 5. You guys, that is it. Those are all of my fragrances. I'm about to lose my voice. I did just want to mention that I did just purchase another fragrance. I was actually on a live stream watching Kelsey Brianna J, and she was talking about Creed fragrances. And I've always wanted to try one from there. Anyway, she was talking about them. I went and researched a little bit. So I purchased Creed Aventus for her. There's a for him and for her. And it just sounded perfect to me because the top notes were very fruity. There's like apple, bergamot, I think peach, like all of these like really, you know, all of these fruits that just sounded really delicious smelling and like perfect for me. And then even some of the base notes had fruit in there. Anyway, I'm really excited to get it. I should be getting it early next week. I'm sure I'll include it in a haul video. If you guys have tried Creed Aventus for her, please let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. And if you feel like you have a similar kind of fragrance taste to me, please let me know down below in the comment section what some of your favorites are. I am obviously open to trying lots of different fragrances. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe down below if you haven't already. I will see you in my next video.